All right, kids, gather around. Let old Bubba here tell you a Christmas story. Once upon a time, an old boomer that I know was cleaning out a bunch of the shit in his basement, and he ran into a bunch of reloading stuff. Components, brass, bullets, powder, primers, that kind of deal, along with a few miscellaneous ammo boxes and reloading trays and hand primers. So he decided that he was going to come visit old Bubba one day, brought him this box full of stuff, and said, Merry Christmas. So, in traditional Midwest nice fashion, I'm going to take some of them components, load them up, and give them back to him as a counter present, if you will. Um, One of the main things that I'm going to do different than I do for my normal loading process is I'm going to use some spray lanolin lube, some aerosol one shot from Hornady, and it's just easier. It's less time consuming and less tedious, especially because it's going to be just hunting ammo that I'm gonna give him back. So I got 100 cases here loaded up. Well, not loaded up, put in a bag and sprayed with the spray lube. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna time lapse now. I'm gonna put in the footage of me resizing all of these, and then we're gonna go into the ultrasonic cleaner here for 7 minutes to get all of the excess lube off them, and then right after that we're gonna rinse them with cold water and throw them in. I just picked up a food dehydrator. Somebody on my ultrasonic cleaner video commented and recommended that I use a food dehydrator. So I went down to the store and I bought one, along with a couple other things. I bought some more of these tote things, bins. That's what I put a lot of my brass and other components in. So I figure the more the merrier with those. Now, when we're talking hunting ammo, you only need a small amount for the whatever your season is. Our season's only 9 days. It's a weekend to weekend. So when I'm loading up 100 rounds here for him, that's going to be years worth of hunting ammo. So let's talk long term storage options real quick. Just to start off, the basic thought would be an ammo can with a weatherproof seal, like a watertight seal. That is absolutely a necessity. And then on top of that, there are people that do vacuum storage. And hold on one second. I just vacuum sealed my ammo that I had left over from this year's season. Just wrote down the basic information, bullet weight, powder charge, primer, seating depth, the whole nine. All the basic info that you'd want to know. And then what I did from there was I wrote down when I vacuumed them, when I sealed them, and I'm going to come back next year before gun season, open this up and test a couple of these out because I have velocity numbers on this exact load. So I'm going to go down to the range next year before deer season, and I'm going to take 2 or 3 of these because that's all I need to check if it's still the same velocity or if it, jumped up or down, whichever way it went. Another real thing that I want to test is I think these are some off-brand vacuum sealing bags. I've noticed with a few other things, food that I've sealed, the bag actually loses its vacuum after a while. So that's another thing I want to test here. I'll be checking on this probably once a month until next deer season to see if anything changes on them. And I'm going to store these. I'm just going to throw this sleeve in an ammo can and leave it. So this will be a nice test for later on in the year. Another thing that people do for long-term storage with their loaded ammo is they use a bullet or primer sealer There's a one that you can buy off the shelf that I believe is a lacquer style. You just dab a toothpick in it and you run around the rim of the primer and the bullet, and that seals any extra moisture that could possibly get in. It seals it out, so it's not happening. But a real cheap and effective way to do a very similar thing is to use nail polish. Real cheap nail polish has the same or similar components that the bullet and primer sealer has as well. So you can do the same thing. I'll probably end up doing a couple of tests with that later on. I believe that you could probably thin it down with some paint thinner to make it more easily spreadable, I guess. A lot of people, what they do, from what I've seen, is they'll take and wipe the whole head stamp, the whole bottom of the case. I don't know why I'm pointing at that. I have one around here somewhere. Here we go. They'll take nail polish and nail polish the whole head, and then take it on a flat surface on some newspaper and rub the bottom off. That way you wipe off all the high spots and it'll fill in that primer seated rim around the primer. And that's a lot of people's main concern, because if you get any moisture in your primer pockets, it can not only cause a failure to fire because of the moisture in the primer itself, but it can also corrode the bottom of the primer pocket, and it makes it really inconsistent for any kind of loading use. So people do that, and then they also take a toothpick and run a rim around the case neck where it meets the bullet as well. I've never done it. Like I said, I'm gonna give it a shot here, probably coming up sometime soon. But by now, you already know what's going on, so we're just gonna cut the time lapse in again, and you'll see the whole thing go down. Till next time. Not a little.